So let's kind of get the I guess the elephant out of the room. We'll get it going here. At least kind of talk about it here for a moment. Well, I don't want to. It's always kind of hard getting into these types of topics too, especially because I know it's gonna put a damper on the rest of the stream, and I don't really want to do too much about that. But I do need to, like I said, I need to get the elephant out of the room because I've touched on it once on the Discord there. You guys, many of you have seen it already. But for those that have been kind of informed in what situation kind of was going on, but may not be tracking on the Discord, which is fine. So when it came to Private Benjamin, so our big old fluff, our big old marshmallow, he likes to call him, he ended up having a large mass in his stomach, and we ended up having him taken into our local vet to go get it checked out because we felt it and we weren't sure what it was. At that time, this was about a month and a half ago now, we ended up finding out through x-rays that, it was a pretty large mass. We didn't know how large it was until about 2.5, 3 weeks later. We ended up getting him scheduled in, or getting him in to see another veterinarian who specialized in ultrasounds, to be able to figure out exactly how large it was. And we found out that it was about baseball size, and 3 of them, to be specific, that were interconnected in his stomach along his torso. So at that point, we weren't quite sure what was going to go on when it came to where it was connected to. If it was connected to his liver or his spleen. At that point, we thought, okay, well, if it was connected to his spleen, it would be an easy fix. We'll be all right. If it's connected to his liver, it's a little bit more difficult because of the type of surgeries, what I was told, and that we would need to be, either way, going to get a CT scan at a certain facility that also had a board-certified veterinarian that could manage either type of surgery, no problem. Be a little bit easier to kind of manage and make sure everything is taken care of correctly. So a couple Tuesdays ago, we ended up taking him out to get a CT scan, and the pup here, doesn't show any signs of being hurt or injured, doesn't show any signs of distress. It's still energetic, kind of a little bit sluggish. He hadn't been eating much, and we've kind of attributed that to something else. But we got the CT scans, we picked him up, and they told us about 5 days later that we'd be getting the results. Here this past Tuesday, we ended up getting the results of the CT scan from the veterinarian that the board certified veterinarian that we were going to go to, and they ended up finding out it was much larger than both the x-ray and the ultrasound was originally kind of showing it to be, unfortunately. In fact, it's the size has reached up into his lung cavity and up onto his spine. It's not connected to them, but it is pushing up to it. And as far back into his bladder area. Now, they've diagnosed him more specifically with having splenic cancer. And at this point, they're unsure if it's still growing or not. And unfortunately, we asked them, with this type of situation, what were our options about having it either fully removed or partially removed? Because, this was kind of a lot more than we were expecting, and we wanted to at least make sure it was easy comfort. We were seeing that he wasn't eating much. And the doctor there, he ended up telling us that with this type of situation, they can attempt it, but he does not recommend it because this type of splenic cancer, he states that even with blood bags on standby, should something happen and excessive bleeding should start, it would become likely severe, and the probability of him surviving such an operation would not be very high. So what we've decided to do is, of course, we're going to forego surgery because, again, he's not in distress. And we're going to, see how long it goes. We've been told by the doctor that he has potentially 36 months. We don't know for sure because, again, we don't know, unfortunately, if the mass is still growing or not, or if it is at the largest size it can get, because these types of things, they typically do plateau. We don't know what time or what phase of growth we caught it at. And up until the point that this thing ends up eventually, well, I should say essentially rupturing, we really won't have any real sign of anything happening with him. So Private Benjamin will act normal. For the most part, he'll act like his normal self day to day. He'll do everything as usual up until the time if it should rupture. And then at that point, of course, he would be in pain and bleeding. And at that point, it's really nothing that can be done except trying to take him to an urgent care or an ER facility if possible, and then trying to ease the pain if possible before it gets to that point. So at this time, again, if best case scenario we're looking at is he isn't going to worry about it growing anymore, and nothing kind of goes on, and we just kind of manage his life as best we can until he kind of old enough and is what it is. Worst case scenario, this continues to grow and then eventually gets to that point where it does burst, and then we have to deal with the situation at hand. But either way, we're going to enjoy the time that we have with him as best we can and deal with it day to day as we go, of course. So if it does happen, I'm sure, you guys are amazing. I know you guys would understand at that point, should something occur. Of course, we'll take some time to kind of deal with it as need be. But up until that time, we're going to try and enjoy it as best we can and kind of move forward and kind of put our best face on, enjoy our time with him, and make the memories last and count, right? So I wanted to at least make sure we informed everybody here, because we've got different levels of interest in parts of our community here. So some that are new, some that have been around for a while, but Battle Pups, they've been here not from the start necessarily, but been here long enough that they're family, of course, and they're integrated here. So it's going to be rough. And there's always that expectation, the memories are what we have to make count. But I wanted to at least put that information out so that way everybody kind of knows what's going on. And but we'll continue on with everything else now. Now that we know kind of what's going on with future treatment, if something goes on pain-wise that isn't related to the splenic cancer, we're gonna try and treat it, of course, but due to the funds no longer being needed for the surgery, we are gonna try and continue on with the weekly giveaways, and I want to try and get somewhat back to a normalcy, so that way it doesn't hamper too much of the mood, because we gotta keep positive, and even though we're a rough side, we want to make sure we move forward, right? We'll do our giveaway tomorrow. We'll have it regular like normal, but tonight we'll enjoy it, and we'll do what we got to do, all right? But anyways, I appreciate everyone. I really do. Without you guys here, I mean, these situations would be a lot rougher. Sure. Yeah, we definitely don't want to. Mrs. B says that we don't want to scare him or make him nervous, because he unfortunately he doesn't know what's going on with him, and it's one of those situations where neither him nor Jarvis understand it, but I mean, we'll make the memories last, right? We'll do. So, all right, let's do this, guys. All right. Yeah, how you doing, Double Decker? Welcome back, buddy. All right. Positive vibes. Positive vibes, right? That's the key. Positive vibes. All right.